What is up, everybody? You are very welcome along to the first ever Mundo Sporto Premier League show. Now, I sat down to think about who I'd like to do the first show with, and I said, I need a nutcase. So instantly, I thought of Joe from All Leeds.
Really?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, quite the introduction. Love that. Yeah, I'm good, man. Excited to be on. Inaugural show. Big stuff, man.
Yeah, look, I'm really excited about this. It's going to be so hard to stay neutral. I mean, I've done watch-alongs on the channel, mate, and I'm like wanting to just scream abuse. Like, I can already see Lampard in the back of your head. I can see it. I can see it. I can see him there, Joe, already.
Definitely.
And we are, of course, also joined by the legend that is Lee Chappie. Sir, how are you?
Cheers for having me on. I'm looking forward to this. And I've got to say one thing before we start. Happy birthday, Jamie Vardy. He's 34 today. So I'll do a KD.
There goes the non-bias out the window, John. We're what, 30 seconds in?
Do a KD straight down the hatch.
Love that.
Good man.
Oh, is he going for it all? No way. Oh, man.
I've never seen somebody drink breast milk that quickly before.
Boom.
Wow.
Jesus. We're in for it tonight, folks.
114 goals, 227 games, 2015-16 champion, more goals than Ronaldo, Drogba, Torres, Lukaku, Suarez, Bergkamp, scored 11 straight games, broke the record, 2019-20 Golden Boot, oldest man to do it, Jamie fecking Vardy.
Fair
Joe,
play.
how are you, mate? Are you all right, Joe? How are you eating yourself? Let's just ignore this drunken fucker in the top corner. Now, look, I thought we'd have a little chat, first of all, around the race for the top six, because I think it's fair to say that this is one of the most open Premier League seasons we've had in a long time. Now, I've got to put my Liverpool bias aside in this one, but Joe, almost as a neutral, I think it's fair to say, because Leeds, I don't think they will push.
We don't have a dog in the fight for the top six. Yeah, we don't have a dog in the fight, do we?
So, put your Frank Lampard love aside, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. What are we thinking? Who we think is going to make that top six? Let's start top four maybe and work our way back from there.
Yeah, I think for me, right, well, we was just chatting on a show we've just been doing there. I think when I've seen Liverpool blast away Leicester, when I've seen them blast away Wolves, I'm thinking, it's going to be another one of them seasons. And obviously not being involved in the top six, you don't really want it. I like Liverpool, but you don't really want it. I want it to be exciting until the end, you know? And I think it's turned into that now. You know, and that's what's... And I don't actually have Liverpool as favourites anymore, if I'm being totally honest, Craig. I don't. I'm sorry, mate. This will probably be the last time you have me. But no,
we're losing you, Joe. We can't hear you, Joe.
I don't want to say anything, but Leeds seem to be crawling.
Oh, here we go. Oh, that's poor. That's really poor, that.
I'm here all week. Just for that, just for that, I'm going to have a shot. Sorry.
But for me, mate, the FA Cup, man, we're used to this now. Histon, Sutton, Newport, we always get beat by lower league opposition. We're always the one. It was always going to happen to us. But yeah, favourites for me for the title are now City. I think they're really clicking into gear. A couple of games in hand. Two, in fact. They do seem to have turned a corner a little bit, so I would make them favourites at this moment in time. No, not all Liverpool fans will like that, but it's just my opinion. I think the injuries have really hampered Liverpool. I don't know when's VVD back. Obviously, it's such a huge loss. I know he's been been doing bits.
In my head, I've got it to the point of view where we won't see Van Dijk this season. If we do, it's a bonus. That's I made peace with that when Pickford assaulted him. I made peace with that when the man with the little arms came T-Rexing out and absolutely just assaulted him right in front of the referee. VAR. Look, I'm not bitter about it at all, mate. Not at all.
Well, yeah, if you're getting back, it's a bonus, Craig. That's how you got to treat it now, isn't it?
But that's.
I do get you though on Man City. I get where you're coming from. They were impressive in that second half in the League Cup against United. I have to say they did show a little something.
And they blew Chelsea away. I know that's not a hard thing to do, really. I mean, any top half team seems to be able to beat Chelsea, to be honest. But I do make obviously Liverpool second for me. Do you want me to go through my top six? Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Man, I find it hard to call them. We call them a different, but Manchester United will come in third. I don't think they're in any sort of title race. I think it's crazy to think they are. I know, look, if they beat Burnley, they'll be there. But I think over the course of the season, Solskjaer's up and down. He has not made a believer of me. I'm never going to be a believer of any sort of Manchester United, but he took a lot of stick, and I think he's come through it. And fair play to the man. You know, he's doing. If they were to sign some decent defenders, they might be all right. But I still think any sort of big team they come up against, like we've seen in the semi-final, I think that's 4 semi-finals he's got them to now. There's obviously a little breakdown there. That he can't seem to get them over that final hurdle. But I do think they'll finish third. I fancy Tottenham for fourth. I do. I don't think they'll win the league. They will win silverware over the course of the season just because they've got Mourinho. I'm gonna put Leicester in there as well. Leicester, fifth.
I'll take that.
Yeah, and if Chelsea change their manager, they might scrape sixth. But I think over the course of the season, I don't think. Look, everywhere he's been, he takes them backwards. People don't like to believe it, but he took Derby backwards. He took Chelsea backwards last season, although apparently he did this amazing thing with such a young squad. But yeah, he took them backwards and he's taking them further backwards. So for that, let's go for a bit of a wild card and say that
Villa.
No, I don't. No, Southampton top 6. They're getting it. Southampton in 6.
That's a wild card.
That's a wild card.
I thought that was a wild card. I thought you were going to say Villa.
They played well against us at times, mate. They wanted it more than us. You know, I was wondering, Lee, I want your top 6 here, but again, I'm almost biting my tongue saying this, but I think Everton should probably be somewhere in that conversation for top 6 as well. I think it's pushing my bias aside. It's fair to say Carlo Ancelotti has done a good job there, Lee.
Yeah, I was gonna mention Villa about how they survived last season. Very similar to what Leicester did in 14-15 season, the Great Escape season. They kind of had a bit of a great escape themselves. And Dean Smith seems to be doing a good job this season. I mean, come on, Grealish is an engine. They've got so many good results as well. They've beat us, they've beat you boys. I mean, they can beat anyone on the day.
We beat them 3-0, just putting it out there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you say that, but look, this season's wonky. Anyone can lose to anyone.
Yeah, no, true.
And the way Villa have been playing, I fancy them to break top 6. I just
do you not think there's a chance Grealish could go in January, or do you reckon that's summer?
No.
Summer.
He's Mr. Loyal. I think he's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, I think in the summer he might go to a Man United or a City, a big money move. I don't know. It's just my opinion.
There's something about Grealish that
I don't see it.
There's something about Grealish that just, I won't say bugs me, but I look at him and there's no denying, like Lee said, the quality of the player. He's come on leaps and bounds, but his rhythm of a game is too stop-start for me for a Liverpool or a Manchester City. Because he gets fouled so much in the way he shows the ball and is so quick to maneuver it away. I just wonder will it stop the flow for a team like Liverpool or Manchester City. Maybe it may suit a counter-attacking Manchester United-esque style team league. Maybe a Grealish move.
Do you think he's just a big fish in a small pond sort of thing? Is that what he is?
I genuinely think he's a quality footballer. I do. I think he's more than capable now of stepping up to that next level and playing Champions League football on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So, Lee, give us your top 6 or where you're thinking. Obviously, feel free to throw yourselves in there.
You know, I'm going to go for Liverpool to probably do the double. It's a tougher ask. Doing the double is one of the hardest things to do, but I think they will just about do it. Man United sniffing down your necks, but I'm going with Liverpool to win it. I'm going with, I don't want to say this, but I think Tottenham are going to get second. I think Leicester will get third. Man City will get fourth. Fifth will be Villa. And sixth, I'm going with Everton and Chelsea to miss out. 228 million pounds spent, I think it is. I don't think they're going to make European football.
On Frank Lampard and Chelsea and the money that's been spent, and Joe, I'll come to you on this first because you are to Frank Lampard what I am to Manchester United. So let's look at this way. He spent a shit ton of money. Nobody can deny that. He's brought in quality footballers. Now, is it fair to say that any manager who brought in those players would probably expect them to take a year to settle in? Or is it just Frank Lampard's inexperience not getting the best of the likes of a Kai Havertz or playing, from my opinion, playing Werner out of position?
Yeah, you know, it's exciting, you know, when a manager buys shit tons of players from all these different clubs and you know, it's like names here, names there, names there. But that's the problem, Craig. What he's done, he's pulled some great pieces of jigsaws out of different jigsaws. You can't just put them together and create a brand new fucking puzzle. It don't work like that. It's going to take a while for him to gel, like you just said. I think the fans were a little bit over ambitious. on the spending and where they're going to get to. I don't think it's a failure. I think it's just you're going to have to give it another, at least till next season, to see the Chelsea that Lampard's putting together. But will he get the time to actually be there when it all comes together?
I think for me, I mean, look, they should. People will disagree with me, but you can't spend that amount of money, especially when you consider what some of the other top teams have spent, nowhere close to Chelsea. You can't spend that much money and be not, for me, at the start of the season, he's got to be involved in a title race. I know people will disagree, but if it's any other manager coming in worth his salt, he's got to be involved in a title race. Frank Lampard has the worst points per game record of any Chelsea manager under Roman Abramovich. The only reason he's still got a job is because he's a legend there. But for me, look, Craig, you know, because the reason I have so much, like, it's not even... Obviously, I dislike the man because of what went off with Leeds United, and I think he's very entitled. He's born with a silver spoon in his mouth, all this sort of stuff. And the way he goes on, like the way he went on at Klopp, like, get over yourself, dude, man. You're brand new in management. You can't be coming on. You're not a player anymore. You can't be saying, oh, you've won one league title and you think you're it. Come on, man. You're new to this. You've won nothing as a manager. It's a totally different kettle of fish. But for me, yeah, I don't think he's got it, man. Derby were never that good week in, week out. And people forget that when he was at Derby, he spent a shit ton of money bringing in players like Harry Wilson, like Mason Mount. These cost decent loan fees. You know, they had to pay a price. You know, we looked at Wilson, but weren't willing to spend. And Liverpool are very smart. They say you've got to pay, and if you don't play this amount of games, then you have to pay even a little bit more. They're very smart with stuff like that, and that's why we turned away from that. But Derby threw the bucket, and look where Derby are now, man. Look where Derby are now. They're struggling. They might not even stay in the Championship. So
they lost to Chorley yesterday, didn't they? They lost to Chorley.
Yeah. So I think for me, I don't rate him anyway, Craig, and I think for me he's out of his depth. I think there was he's coming out calling out players after the Arsenal result. I seen a definite change of tact after getting beat by City. He was blowing smoke up City's arse, like, oh, Kevin De Bruyne, yeah, but hang on a minute, mate, you've just spent over 200 million. You're bringing in Werner, who was highly coveted across the whole of Europe. Liverpool looked at him, so you can't be then going, oh, but they've got Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling. Yeah, but you've got Kai Havertz, you've got Werner, you've got Thiago Silva, you've got players that can be considered close to or at their level. You know?
True.
I just think Lee and Jordan... Go on, mate, sorry.
I was just going to say to Lee, what Joe's talking about there, I've noticed something from Frank Lampard this week. He came out in the media, and this is the sign to me of him being under pressure, and said that he has Roman Abramovich to thank for his career, basically. And when you see that type of stuff, as Lee touched on there, or excuse me, as Joe touched on earlier on, about that sense of entitlement, the fact he's a legend at Chelsea, do you think that he'll see the season out, Lee?
I think I spoke about this on another show not long ago. The pressure's on. The amount of money is spent, the pressure is on to succeed. And the fans' expectations will be skyrocketing as well. If look, at the end of the day, if Liverpool spent 225 million, you would be expecting at least second minimum, surely. So
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, pal.
It's a lot of money not to get top six. Put it that way.
It's a lot of money when your owner as well is throwing his toys out with a pram and not building a new stadium because he couldn't get his way with the British government, put it that way. So I was a little bit shocked to see that much faith placed in Lampard.
I think as well, you know, Craig, I don't know if this is, but I've heard on the grapevine as well and from doing different podcasts here and there that apparently like not all these signings were signed off by Lampard. Like, because he's been the man that wants Declan Rice, and the powers that be at the club are ones that don't want him, and there seems to be a bit of a standoff there, because it makes you think if they wanted Declan Rice, they'd have made it happen. And I think Lampard's big on him, and maybe the club aren't, which I found out the other week, and I was a bit like, oh, right, I didn't realise. I thought these were all Lampard signings. So there's obviously that in there as well in the mix, you know?
Moving on, I want to have a little chat around Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, obviously, this weekend sees Liverpool taking on Manchester United in a massive Premier League game. And to me, I still don't know how he got the job. But we can talk about how Frank Lampard got the job at Chelsea with some experience, but I will never understand what's gone on at Manchester United that has allowed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer into that club as manager. I'm grateful for it every single day of the week because Pochettino or somebody of that ilk really would worry me. Now, I'm not denying that he's, as Joe touched on earlier on, he is starting to turn that United team around and they are starting to get some results. But Lee, for me, every time it comes up to a big, big test, whether that be to get your way through that Champions League group, whether that be the semi-finals of the Cups, he is found tactically wanting to me, Lee. And that's just my honest assessment of Solskjaer.
Yeah, what's the equivalent of for Liverpool for putting a legend that you wouldn't really want as a manager in? What would you say? Like someone like Ian Rush, for example, is absolute legend, but he just gets the random manager's job that he's never really had experience in doing. Your heads would explode, right?
To be fair, he did relegate Cardiff and win the Norwegian title with Molde. So surely that opens the reins for one of the world's most prestigious clubs to him. Surely he's definitely got the CV for that job.
They are. I mean, you probably don't want to admit it because you're a Liverpool fan, but Man United are, give or take, the world's most prestigious club in the world of football. I don't understand why Ole got the job. I don't understand it. And a lot of United fans on social media are probably asking the same thing. And they've been Ole out for quite a while. It seems like no matter what he does, it's still Ole out. Even if they win, it's hashtag Ole out. I don't know. Don't get it.
And Lee, or excuse me, Joe, with regards to signings as well, Donny van de Beek hasn't been getting many starts for Manchester United. And I'm trying to be paying attention to this a little bit. Obviously, I don't dip my toe in the United fan channels too much, but when I hear Mark or others talking about it, Joe, I seem to get the impression that Ole doesn't feel that Donny van de Beek was an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signing, more a Manchester United and Ed Woodward signing.
Yeah, it is a bit of a strange one, isn't it? I do think Donny van de Beek thought he was coming in as well and be getting instant game time. It is a bit of a strange one because he's very, very talented. And look, the whole club's like in terms of how they're bringing players. Like, look, I know Cavani's come in and done okay and won games for them. You know, I think it was Southampton when he got them 2 late goals, but he wasn't. Well, Cavani had been available from about June. Yeah, and they signed him on the last day. So no one's telling me that Cavani was the one they always wanted. Do you know what I mean?
I got that wrong, by the way. I got that wrong. I said he wouldn't make it. I said that he wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, I was the same.
I got it wrong. I got it wrong.
Yeah. But sometimes it happens, right? Like Falcao flopped, but then when they bring in like Henrik Larsson, that works.
Yeah, you know, even Diego Forlan.
Yeah,
even he didn't really make his mark.
Yeah. You know, So obviously there's an issue there. Like obviously going after Sancho all that time and then bringing in a left back. It's clear for me they need someone to partner Maguire. They're not ever going to take that.
Maguire.
They need someone with a bit of pace to play alongside Maguire. I think.
Stop saying his name. You're tickling me. £80 million. Cheers, lads.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? But they're not going to take that hit either. They're not going to. I don't think Man United are going to say, let's take our medicine and say we got that one wrong. They've made him captain of the club. They paid 80 million for him. He's here to stay, whether or not Man United fans like it or not. They just need someone to play alongside him. As for Ole, though, like you said, when the onus is on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be the aggressor, to be the man that needs to break down teams, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's found wanting. Let's look at Leeds United. Leeds United played ideally into Man United's hands. That's just how play, because they'll come and have a go. And Man United are perfectly set up to say, do you know what? Sit in when you get your chance, spring, counter-attack. And that's all Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows. If he has to break down a team, he's found wanting. And we've seen that in the big games, you know. So he's only set up one way. But you can't argue with his record of late. He's doing well, man. He is doing well, as much as it pains me to say it. But I do think they'll want someone else in, surely, at some point. And I think he was a stopgap that's been longer than what they imagined, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say he does deserve credit. United deserve credit for clawing their way back into this title race. Now, I can't have this conversation around managers, Lee and Joe, without, I'll come to you first, Lee, having a conversation around Jurgen Klopp, and then we'll move on to Pep Guardiola. So it's easy for me to sit here, and I've often vented my frustrations around certain things with Klopp. But from the outside, Lee, what would your assessment be of this season with Jurgen Klopp?
Well, you mentioned Pep. is he playing mind games? Because he said that he was out of the Premier League title race. They're not out of it by no longs. No long shot. They're not out of it yet. But Klopp, I mean, they're still top, and they've lost arguably the best defender in the world, the best centre-back in the world, and they've lost him.
Which He's not the world's most expensive, though, Lee. It's very important that we get that. Just in case people
are moving on to that again. £80 million.
Harry Maguire is the world's most expensive defender.
That's another shot.
We're going to get him legless, Joe, by the end of this. Just keep mentioning Harry Maguire.
Have you seen what Leicester built on that Maguire money? Did you see what they built down the road on the A46? Have you actually seen it? The £100 million training facility. Go and just search it up. Leicester training facility. Go and have a look. Maguire money has built a future for the club. It's brilliant. I love it.
Look, I'll tell you what. I've always given credit to your owners, by the way. Leicester City's owners have. We'll move on to that a little bit later, but I just want to get that out there. They are owners that always, to me, listen to the fans and have the club's best interests at heart. I will say that.
Unreal.
But just on Klopp, Lee, what's your assessment this season with the injuries he's faced, with the fixture pile-up? Honestly, don't hold back, man. I think he's, at times left it too late to make subs. I think he's no plan B at times. That's my assessment.
Yeah, but it's difficult to have a plan B when you've got not got as many players left because of injuries and COVID and God knows what else is going to come our way. But I mean, I've not watched lots of Liverpool matches. I'll be honest with you. I've stayed truthful to watching mostly Leicester stuff and the highlights and whatnot around the Premier League. So I can't give you a 90-minute assessment on Liverpool. But from what I've seen, they're still going about their way, attacking fluid down, especially that left side. Scary. I'm frit to death of watching Liverpool down that left side. Robson and Mane, I'm scared to death of. And Klopp seems to like playing fast stars down the wings and cutting in. Salah has been off lately. I hope you agree with me. Salah has been quite off lately. I don't know.
Oh, prepare yourself for the avalanche that's coming your way, mate. Avalanche.
I'm just a neutral.
You're not allowed. Not allowed to be critical of Salah. It's not allowed. It's against the law, apparently. I tried it once and didn't get away with it.
All right, I'll turn it around before I get slated. He's a magician. He's an Egyptian magician. You can have that. But he's not been the Salah that we know.
I think that's a fair assessment. People will still come back and say that he's Liverpool's highest goal scorer this season, and he is. Yeah. I think. For me, before I come to Joe and his take on Klopp, but for me, if you're talking about Salah, you've got to be talking about somebody that's holding themselves to the standards of a Messi, of a Ronaldo, that wants to be up there mentioned with the real greats. And if, for me, you've got to be doing it week in and week out to be up there at that level. Now, Mohamed Salah never asked himself to be put up on this pedestal. He's played himself into this position with a couple of magnificent seasons at Liverpool. And like everybody else, I'm fine about a dip in form. But Joe, to you, Klopp from the outside, coming from a club that has a manager that I hold in absolutely high esteem in Bielsa, I think he's a genius.
Yeah, look, Klopp, I don't know. I think Liverpool are brilliant. Klopp's brilliant. The one thing that's really grinded my goat, especially after the Aston Villa one, and I wanted to get your opinion on it as well, Craig, while I'm on, is the whining in the morning around the substitution situation. That's what's really frustrated me as a fan of an opposing club. What I don't understand is, and Liverpool fans won't like me for saying this, but I say it, but you can't go on the way you did it. It's pure. I agree with Gary Neville, which doesn't happen very often, when he said that, look, it's purely to get an advantage for Liverpool. And people will say, no, it's not. It's for the rest of the football clubs. We need these extra subs. We need this. We need that. I don't agree with it at all. And I think what frustrated me against Villa on Friday, the squad that he put out, Klopp can never not say again for me this season and turn round and say, "Oh, we need more subs. They're playing too much." You played Salah, Mane, Wijnaldum, Henderson. All these players. You had the likes of Shaqiri, Origi were not getting game time. Surely, I don't care if Klopp's prepared to play the first Villa side.
Against a full team of 17-year-old lads.
Exactly. You can't tell me you can go, do you know what, Shaqiri, you go on in place of Salah? Do you know what, Origi, you go on in place of whoever, you know? Like, I just did not understand it, Craig. And that's what's really grinded my goat this season is the insistence on, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this. And not being honest about the situations. Let's be honest, it's purely to benefit Liverpool, which I get it. But it's when others are coming out in defence of it and saying, "Oh no, it's for everyone." It's not because all that would.
Yeah. But at this time last year, Joe, they were running away with it.
Yeah.
They were running away with it. There was no pressure on Liverpool at this point last season. The only pressure they had was the Foxes, and they smashed us 4-0 at home on the Boxing Day.
Yeah.
That was it. And from then on, it was all gone. They're off. They're off to the races on their own. This season, who knows what's going to happen? No one knows.
I will say that I've noticed a little bit of a change in Klopp's demeanour over the recent period. Whether it be pressure. See, it's very difficult to gauge this because, you know, are we talking about footballing pressure or just the world pressure with the situation we're all in right now? And it's crazy. But to touch on what Joe said about the substitutions, it's something that bugs the shit out of me as a Liverpool fan. So you want 5 substitutes and yet you're barely using 3 in the games that you have.
Exactly.
Particularly when, you know, as you said, we got Diogo Jota injured playing a pointless dead rubber against Midtjylland in the Champions League group that we'd already won. And then we played him unnecessarily. He picks up a knock. And then we are where we are. And as you said again, I was so shocked at the strength of the team that went out to play Aston Villa. I really thought that would have been a chance to give some of the younger players an opportunity, of course, but also to get that rest in that you're talking about. So I absolutely think it's a fair point that you made, Joe.
Yeah. I think that's my only frustration being with him. I love Klopp. I do, genuinely, but it's just this season, and like Lee said, maybe it is that pressure that's coming, because let's be honest, like Gary Neville said, like Fergie used to do the same, and he did. You know what I mean? He used to say exactly the same sort of things. So it probably is that. It's that pressure of being the top team, the one that everyone's going after, you know?
You've got the biggest rivals, Man United, breathing down the necks. You've got Pep playing small mind games. You've got Jose Mourinho hanging around. He's always in people's heads, that guy. Always. And then you've got former Liverpool manager Brendan Rodgers, who's still hanging about. He's still there. It's a lot of pressure to have a double win, because Craig, you know, back-to-back trophies is a hard thing to do in the Premier League.
I don't remember back-to-backs, to be honest with you. It's been a while, mate.
What is it? Is it when was the last one? Was it 90? Was it 99, 2000?
Jesus Christ!
It's got to be United. It's got to be United, isn't it?
Oh, the last back-to-back in the Premier League. Hand on heart, mate, I don't remember who. United or Chelsea, I would imagine, probably went back-to-back. Arsenal probably went back-to-back. I can't tell you off the top of my head. But while you were on Pep, just to finish up on the managers, how do we think he's performing this season, Lee? Is he trying to go under the radar a little bit?
Yeah, under the radar. Didn't they start with a game in hand because they didn't play? Is that right? A bit like Man United. Yeah. And I think they've both played that out really well and stayed under the radar. They've sort of just been creeping up, haven't they? And now we're at this point, like nearer to the middle end of January, and they're both there. It's a weird one, Craig. It's a weird one. They've both acted like that, and I didn't even see Man United coming until all of a sudden, bang! They were joint top.
The chat is saying, by the way, it was Manchester City.
Joint top or second.
That did it last. And how we missed that. We should be all ashamed of ourselves, lads. How we missed the City one. They were the last one to go back-to-back.
Oh, okay. Of course. Yeah, of course. Man City. Yeah, but I think that's because I don't know, Man City, man. They're a new club.
I'll tell you what it's because of. It's because Iheanacho's a cunt. That's what it's because of, mate. That's exactly what it was. Iheanacho, absolutely. I'm sure I'm going.
Don't stop me on him. Please don't stop me on him, because you believe it or not, he's our top goal scorer in Europe right now this season. And every goal and stuff he scored it's just like, it's almost like he tumbles over and the ball ends up in the net. He's dog awful. I don't know how we bought him for 25 million. Man City's seen us coming. I don't rate him. We need a striker desperately need a striker, because Jamie Vardy's 34 today and he's only getting older and older. We need
a joke for you, Pep.
Yeah, Pep. I mean, I rate him like He's a top quality coach. I did think, to be fair, that City would go big in the transfer market this summer, just due to the fact of, even before the season started, I did fancy City because I just thought they would go big in the transfer market. They didn't quite do that. Obviously, there's a real issue with the striker situation. You've had Aguero and Jesus injured out at the start of the season, and he was playing Sterling there, Mahrez there, trying different people in the false nine. But they do seem to have turned a corner recently, picked up some really good results and playing some scintillating stuff again, absolutely brilliant stuff. And the fact that he's not brought Laporte straight back in of late as well, and just kept faith with Stones and Diaz at the back. Yeah, they've been great. Diaz has been a great buy.
How much he cost? 60-odd million though.
I'm not sure, but it's been a great buy. When I spoke about them throwing the checkbook at it, I was expecting a Chelsea-style thing to try and grip that title back. It will be interesting to see what City do in January. If not, in the summer, will they go for Haaland? Will they go for Kane? It's the miss, because I think Aguero is going to go back to his homeland of Argentina more than likely soon. So I think his time in the Premier League is coming to an end. So the next piece of the jigsaw for City is that striker, and maybe they'll get one in January. And if they do, then you'd have to think, it's going to be even more tougher for them what it is currently for Liverpool if they went out and spent big in January.
They've only conceded one goal. Apparently, Man City's comfortable victory over Man United meant Ruben Diaz and John Stones have only conceded one goal in 900 minutes of football together.
Yeah,
so they've clearly got a good, partnership going on.
I think it's really good that he's kept faith with Stones as well, because when you're on the outside, like Stones has been getting a lot of stick for a lot of time. Yeah. People saying you paid 50 million or whatever it was for him. He's a flop, but he's a great ball-playing centre-back. He's fantastic with the ball at his feet. Yes, he has made a few errors here and there, but I think it's great that he's just gone, you know what, Laporte, just staying there. These two are working well together, and he's kept faith for them, and I think that's what's helped them to turn the corner, man.
I thought that Manchester City were going to put all their eggs in the Champions League basket. As I said, gone under the radar is probably my own ignorance of not keeping an eye on what was going on with Manchester City. And I think they are absolutely in this title race. And I would still hopefully push Liverpool ahead, but I understand why Joe would have them as favourites. I can see the argument and a fair argument from Joe about why City may be favourites. But one manager and one team, Joe, and again, you have experience of being in the Championship with this club, so I want to talk to you first about it. What on earth has gone on at Sheffield United? What on earth is Chris Wilder doing? And why did they buy Ryan Brewster if they're not going to give him the right service?
Look, I mean, Chris Wilder, I was speaking because we have a Sheffield United fan come on our show on a Friday, and he's staunch Sheffield United and won't have a bad word said about Wilder, and I get it. Because Sheffield, Wilder's from Sheffield. He was a ball boy at the club. He played for the club. He manages the club. He took him from League One to Premier League. I think what's happened with Sheffield United is they've probably achieved further ahead than what they probably panned out to do, if that makes sense. They're like ahead of what their plan would have been. And, the loss of Jack O'Connell at the back's been huge for them. And maybe they have been found out, as people like to say, a little bit. And they just can't score goals. And I do think if it's Wilder or whoever the powers that be, they've spent quite a lot of money on strikers, McBurney, obviously they're just not doing it. They've still got Billy Sharp there. And the signing of Brewster was a strange one. I think Brighton were after Brewster, and I think he probably should have gone there, to be honest, because it's more suited to his style of play. I think Sheffield United play a certain way and prefer the likes of McBurney and stuff up front, but that's what they're lacking, his goals. It's not as if, I feel it's mad because they have a less points return than that Derby side did at this stage of the season, and probably on course to break that record. However, Derby were getting spanked week in, week out. Sheffield United are in games. They're really tight. They were in the game against you. We only beat them 1-0. I don't know what Leicester have done against them this season, but they're in games. They just can't score. So... Yeah.
We beat them in December. I think we beat them 2-1 in December, I think it was.
That's what I mean. I think it was 2-1 with you guys as well, was it, Craig? Sheffield United.
Yes, it was.
I can't remember yesterday, the fixtures.
I know, but we only beat them 1-0, so it's not as if they're getting spanked. So it's a bit false, but ultimately he's got 2 points. I think them getting a win in the FA Cup at the weekend, 3-2 Bristol Rovers, that's huge for them because they've got Newcastle next. So it could be that little bit of confidence boost. I'm actually winning a game. I don't know if you've seen the tweet where Sheffield United tweeted out he'd finally won 100 games,
or something.
And people were like saying, "How long has that been in your drafts?" It was brilliant.
100%. He is, though, Lee, one of the likable characters, Chris Wilder, isn't he? He just is a football man through and through. You can't dislike the fella.
Is like your bloke you go down the pub on a Sunday and he's always there chatting with his stories and stuff. He's just the normal, normal human being. He's not over exaggerant. He's just he's just a standard character. There's nothing too horrible. You can't pick anything out of him at all. You can't. He's just a nice guy, humble.
It's weird though because they lost Ian Henderson. He went back to Manchester United. They brought in a keeper who, in my opinion, is nowhere near the level of Ian Henderson. I think that was actually a terrible piece of business to bring him in from Bournemouth. But Lee, for you, any chance Sheffield United can turn this around second half of the season?
They got a win in the FA Cup, didn't they? So I mean that's gonna maybe help them a little bit with a bit of momentum. But they're down for me. They're gone.
You, Joe, would you agree? Down?
A couple of games ago, I would have said, but I think, mate, I remember
we're too far into the season, aren't we?
They've got Newcastle, right, and then they've got Tottenham, Man United, Man City. So, what they're getting from that, even if they beat Newcastle, they're not getting out from the other games, I don't think. So, yeah, they're probably done, aren't they? It's just a shame because I like to see Yorkshire teams.
Wow, yeah, as you were saying, they've got Newcastle, they've got Tottenham, Man United, Man City, and Chelsea back to back.
Going to be tough for them, innit? So
sorry, did somebody say back to back incoming? Sorry, I thought I heard that somewhere. I thought I heard it somewhere. Look,
I keep hearing 21 in 21. I heard that as well.
No, mate, that's just a rumor. That's just a rumor. Before I let you go, I want to have a chat around everybody's least favorite three-letter word, and that's VAR. I mean, the one that sums up the entire season, Joe, to me, is Patrick Bamford's pointing of where he was. That, to me, that was the line where I just went,
I was going to say that, Joe, as well. I was going to say that.
I was fuming because...
it's football! It's football!
Yeah. I don't even think that. It's more the case of if he had shorter limbs, it's like he's been accosted for being a bit lanky. Do you know what I mean? If it was me, my arms are shorter, I probably wouldn't have been offside, and that's the madness. It's crazy.
That's natural, isn't it? You can't point with your head.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's a great goal as well. It was a decently worked goal, to be fair. I don't think. Look, VAR's here to stay, and I think it's more. I suppose with it, it's more the rule makers. Do you know what I mean? I suppose. Look, if he's offside, he's offside. But what they're going to need to change the rule, aren't they? I think they said if it's from here down, that's offside. I think if it's anywhere from your shirt down, that's offside. If that's like that, so if it had been like that, it'd have been all right or something. But that means,
yeah. I want where it would be like it's arm for arm, not arm for foot. I want it, whatever body part they're on about, it needs to be measured with the same body part. If that's how picky they're going to get, then make it fair.
Yeah.
Another ridiculous one, Lee, and again, bringing it back to Liverpool, was Mane. I mean, it seemed to me like they were trying everything possible to find an angle away to give that one off. And of course, I'm biased on this. Of course, I am. Of course, I'm going to think that was a valid goal. But is it, Lee, is it the system or is it the officials that are the problem?
It's a learning curve, isn't it? I mean, it's a new system. It's put into play. It's been around, now, how long is it now? 14, 15, 16 months it's been in?
In the Premier League, this is second season in, so about 18 months or so.
Yeah, it's still got a long way to go before it's perfected, and I'm pretty sure they're still going to change the rules of the game around VAR, not the other way around. Sorry, but that's how it's going to go.
I think it is the rules, like it's the lawmakers and it's the officials that are changing them laws. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like that stupid handball rule they brought.
I don't even know what it is anymore. I don't even know. I don't understand it anymore because
it was any body, and now it's not that. Who remembers the Dyer one when the Dyer's gone to head the ball and it hit his arm when it was not intentional at all, but. So they changed that quickly back because they realised, bloody hell, there's going to be a penalty or 2 or 3 penalties in every single game. Yeah. But so they changed that law back. But it's these people that are making these laws in the first place. VAR will probably work elsewhere pretty fine. It's just our lawmakers are trying to fix something that isn't broken. Ultimately, it's not the system, it's the officials and the law and the people that are making the laws that VAR has to abide by. Yeah, but then again, there's again, what's the point in VAR if you are going to have another... So, Craig, you could do it 1 week and have a totally different interpretation to what I would. This is the frustrating thing is where, like, you take, for example, I think it was Roberts against Danny Welbeck, was it? The kick, Brighton. Was it Liverpool-Brighton when they got the penalty? Or was it Man United? Sorry, I can't remember. But what I'm saying is, like, oh, yeah, it was, right? Like, Roberts got pulled up for one. For foul. The week after, Poveda had a similar sort of situation, and it wasn't even looked at. But, like, Roberts... Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Consistency, yeah.
Yeah, it's still then the officials, because it's choosing when to look and who looks. And...
It's a computerized system for a TV production, unfortunately still operated by humans.
That's what I'm saying.
There's another aspect to all of this, though, that let's say I'm Michael Oliver, I'm refereeing a game, and let's say David Coote is in the VAR room. Is there this thing, Lee, where they don't want to overrule their mates or they don't want to go against one of their own decision? Do you think that that's a fair thing to put out there, or do you think that's just fans making it up?
No, biased and all that. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, that's all there. That's not made up. That's definitely true.
And if I could share my biggest gripe around VAR, it's the slow motion for penalties and red cards. Why show a slow motion replay of something? Because everything looks more deliberate, Joe, in slow motion. Everything, a handball or a tackle, everything looks more deliberate in slow motion. And I'm led to believe that when this was brought in, I think IFAB, the people who make the rules, said that they don't want these decisions, red cards and penalties, looked at in slow motion. Look at it in real time. If you have to examine something that much, you're going to find what you're looking for, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You bang on, mate. And it's not... And I think it's when they talk about clear and obvious and stuff, they're just looking at stuff for the sake of looking at stuff. And I think I think it's silly when they go to the monitor. I think you need to go to the monitor. Just fucking tell him what your thoughts are. Why are you making such a song and dance about it? So then he goes over to the monitor. Like, they obviously make... Why? Whenever they go to the monitor, they're either doing it to overrule what they've already done or give a pen. I've not seen someone go over yet. I might be wrong, people in the chat, you guys, where they've gone, no, I've got it right. Do you know what I mean? They go over to the monitor...
Twice that's happened, I think.
Right, okay.
And that's probably from 100.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's normally to say, oh, I got that red card wrong, like Derby won at the weekend, or, yes, that's a definite penalty. I think it makes a bit of a song and dance about it, me, to be fair. It does me head in.
And Lee, what's your take on the slow motion replays?
Well, if I throw a punch and it goes, and I'm throwing it in slow motion, it looks a lot different to me hitting you in the face straight away, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
I mean, it's far more deliberate. Absolutely, everything looks more deliberate.
Exactly. Come here, Craig. No, slow motion stuff's got it. Just elaborates it and just accelerates it into social media toxicity that social media is. Twitter just loses its mind, doesn't it, when it's slow motion?
Is there any shout, Joe, to almost go to an NFL style, hearing what's going on between VAR and the referee, and then the referee literally turning on a microphone and explaining the decision, like you do in the NFL when the referees stand around?
I was about to say that, Craig. That's what we need as well.
I would love it. You get it in rugby league as well. Like, the referees are mic'd up so you can hear what the players are saying, and I don't know why it is, but if you see the way the referee refs a game in rugby, like, there's no back chatter out because they know, like, it's all on camera, and our refs take a lot of heat and sometimes can get decisions swayed because of it and that. And it would be nice, accountability. I think as well, it'd be nice to see if an error is made, why that then referee can't be questioned after the game as to why he made that decision and why we can't be privy to that. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair though, lads, the
they're
culture,
untouchable.
the culture that's been built though over the years, where we're allowed to argue with the referees, that players get in the referees' face and stuff. If that was in rugby, that player's off the field.
Yeah, true.
You ain't talking to me like that at all. There's loads to change in football. If we could talk about this all day. There's tons.
I was just going to say that, but unfortunately, time was beating us. Before I let you gents go, I just want to give you a second to just let people know. I'll start with Lee, where they can find you, social media, your channel. Let them know. Plug yourself, man. This is your show.
Yeah. Just punch away in YouTube. Just type Lee Chappie and you'll find me. I do Leicester watch-alongs. Growing to about nearly 6,000 subscribers, so that's cracking. On Twitter at Lee_Chappie. Verified as well. Woohoo! Instagram as well. I'm on there. Same thing. Lee_Chappie.
Nice. Always great to have Lee on. Lee's a good friend of the channel. Me and Lee go back a while. So
yeah.
And look,
congrats
I was so
on
happy
63K, by the way. Congrats on 63K. I've seen you shoot that on the last show. Well done.
I don't know how long we'll be able to blag this shit for, man. I've no idea how the channel got that size. But when Leeds came up, Joe, this season, I have to say, it holds a special place in my heart because my wife's uncles and some of my uncles are Leeds fans. And when I came up, I was introduced to your channel. And I have to say, man, what a great addition to the Premier League family All Leeds TV is. It is quality content, man, I got to say.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Craig, man. We've had you on a couple of times. Yeah, it's class, man. I love it. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely love doing this stuff. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. I enjoy doing it. We're actually trying to, since lockdown was announced in England as well, we've gone live every night at least once just to try and keep people's spirits up, kind of thing. For me as well, because I'm locked in the house. I have a couple of kids. I'm doing homeschooling. My missus is working from home. Sometimes my head feel like it's going to fall off. So when I come in here and come in my little room, it's like my little peace. You know, it's my little solace. I can have a bit of chat like I would with the lads at the football and stuff. So I love it. But yeah, All Leeds TV, we do watch-alongs. We do stuff like this as well, where we get other fans on and chat away. Just come on over. Please check us out, All Leeds TV.
Ladies and gents, you're going to see a lot more fan channels come onto this platform during the season. Lee is going to be our second presenter here. We're going to alternate between the watch-alongs, myself and Lee. I'll definitely have the guys from All Leeds TV. We've got Corey, the West Ham fan that Joe, you actually introduced me to. Dave as a party from Wolves. Loads of great content coming up. Please go over, subscribe to All Leeds TV, to Lee Chappie's channel as well. There will be links in the description. Gents, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you giving up your time, and to all you guys watching, hit that subscribe button. Mundo Sport is only getting started. We're going to try and do this thing, build it along the way. Really appreciate your support. Lads, any final words before we head off, Lee? And say, apart from get drunk.
Get drunk.
Jamie Vardy's birthday.
Cheers, everyone. And thank you. Just subscribe and help the channel grow. We're growing fast.
Joe, any final words from yourself about the season or anything? And you just want to plug? Leeds
are getting Europe. You heard it here first.
Look, ladies and gents, please hit that subscribe button. This has been an absolute pleasure, and we will chat with you good folks soon. I'll be here tomorrow, actually, for United's trip to Burnley to see if they will go top of the Premier League.
Come on, Burnley.
Come on, Burnley. There you go. No bias. Look, folks, thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like. Talk to you soon.